Welcome to the September 3, 2025 regular meeting of the Holland City Council. I'm Mayor Nathan Box, and I'm calling the meeting to order. Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Byrd.
Present.
Vreeman.
Here.
Raymond. Here. Corbin. Here. Soul. Rowan.
Present.
Shea.
Here.
Schulteis.
Present.
Mayor Box.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Wonderful, thank you. We're going to begin this evening's meeting as we have for many years, first with an opening prayer this evening by Councilmember Vreeman, followed immediately by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we would invite you to join us.
Best you would pray with me, please, if you're inclined. Lord, we want to come before you this evening and grateful for the change in weather, and we check our own spirits against that. But we thank you particularly for the anticipation of fall and school, and we put our children before you, that you might lead us as adults, as parents, as community members and leaders to make great, sound, wise decisions for their futures. And so we thank you for them, and we ask that you would lead them and guide them as well as they participate in their school and extra activities and sports and all the things that encompass childhood and being a student. And so cause us again to be wise and discerning as we consider and reflect on city leadership. We ask now for your wisdom in this meeting. It's by your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Vreeman. Next item on our agenda, or item number 4, are consent agenda items. These are items that are considered to be fairly routine and have been reviewed by council as part of our council member packet, and they will be approved in one motion unless a member of the public or a member of council asks to have an item removed from the consent agenda, and then it will be placed in its regular order on the regular agenda. But before I ask if anyone would like to do that, Brenda, would you please review the consent agenda for us?
4A, excuse the absence of Councilmember Soul. 4B, approve the minutes of the August 20, 2025 regular meeting. 4C, oaths of office. 4D, a proposed amendment to city ordinances with final adoption September 17, 2025. 4E, claims filed against the city. 4F, award the bid for Myrtle Court Storm Sewer Pipe Repair Project. 4G, schedule a public hearing for the 2024-25 CDBG Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report submission. 4H, agreement with the ODC Network for sustainability services. 4I, updated management contract with the ODC Network for the DeGraff Nature Center. 4J, irrigation installation at Lakeview School Park. 4K, approve the purchase and installation of playground equipment at Lakeview School Park. 4L, approve participation in Secondary Manufacturers National Opioid Settlement. 4M, approve the grant application to the Port Infrastructure Development Program. 4N, accept the grant from Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks for ADA infrastructure. 4O, accept the grant from Holland Area Convention and Visitors Bureau for promotion of the International Festival of Holland. 4P, Downtown Principal Shopping District Assessment, schedule a public hearing of necessity for September 17. 4Q, Downtown Parking Operations and Maintenance Assessment, schedule the public hearing of necessity for September 17. And 4R, Downtown Snowmelt Operation and Maintenance Assessment, schedule a public hearing of necessity for September 17.
Thank you, Brenda. Is there any member of the public who would like to have an item removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda? Seeing none. Any member of council that would like to have an item removed from consent? Mr. Shea.
Yes, I would like to pull off L, Finance, that's 12 Echo 4.1,
approve participation in secondary manufacturers national opioid settlement.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shea. Is there anyone else who would like to have an item removed from consent? Seeing none, what is the pleasure of council in regard to the consent agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as presented with the exception of letter L.
Great, thank you. There's a motion. Is there support? Support motion by Vreeman, support by Byrd. Any discussion? Seeing none, Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Byrd.
Yes.
Vreeman.
Yes?
Raymond.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Rowan.
Yes.
Shea.
Yes.
Schultheis.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda is item number 5, public comment. Under the Open Meetings Act of the State of Michigan, we provide the opportunity for the public to address council at our regular meetings, our study sessions, and at every single one of our board, committee, and commission meetings. It's an opportunity for you, the public, to be able to address council and our committees on any subject that you think is important. We do have guidelines that we ask you to follow, however. One is that each person may speak for only 5 minutes. There are 3 lights on the dais in front of me. There's a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. Green light means that you're doing well on time. Yellow light means that you have 1 minute left, and the red light means that your time has expired, and we are strict about that. We ask that when you come to the podium, you please state your name and the municipality in which you live, because it's important for us to know whether or not you're a resident of the city of Holland. We also want to make sure that you understand that this is one-way communication. It's an opportunity for you to be able to address council, but we do not engage in discussion or answer direct questions at this time. However, if there's a question that staff can answer, they may be able to circle back to you after the meeting. With that being said, is there anyone here who would like to address council at this time? If so, please come forward. And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
My name is Abby Klumparns. I am a resident of the city of Holland. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I stand before you today as a proud and passionate Hollander. Hollander is not only my home, Holland is my heritage. This community raised me. As a student of Holland Public Schools, I was taught to be a critical thinker and empathetic citizen. The people around me taught me how to be a good friend and a good neighbor. It is in this spirit of respect and inclusivity that inspired me to pursue a career in public service in my current run for Holland City Council. And it was out of a sense of duty and gratitude to this community I joined the Holland Human Relations Commission, an appointment I received from this mayor with approval from this council. I have so enjoyed the opportunity to advocate for and celebrate the diversity and unity of Holland. I have learned so much about the people and places I share this home with. I have especially found value and purpose working on our housing subcommittee to explore how we can increase housing access, affordability, and equity. When asked in May if I wanted to seek reappointment and serve a second term on the HRC, I did not hesitate to say yes. I was excited to spend another term working alongside some of the most passionate, committed people I know, to serve Holland, to support this council, and be a part of this team. I was honored and humbled when in June of this year, in my last meeting as an appointed commissioner, my peers unanimously elected me to serve as vice chair and chair-elect. I saw ahead of me in the HRC a bold, bright future of advocacy and service. All this to say, I was saddened and confused when my first term as commissioner expired on June 30, along with that of 2 other fellow commissioners, and not one of us had been reappointed. Weeks and months have now gone by, and I have yet to receive communication as to whether or not my appointment will be recommended, or reasoning as to why my reappointment has gone unfulfilled. As of June 30, there are 4 vacant seats on the Holland Human Relations Commission, with at least 3 former commissioners expressing desire to serve in these roles. You can imagine losing 3 commissioners with an already existing vacancy makes it very difficult for the HRC to function. Not only do these vacancies cause logistical issues, but our community now lacks 4 voices, 4 advocates on a body designed to represent an already underserved and often overlooked members of our community. Holland deserves a fully functional and supported Human Relations Commission, especially in a time where so many feel their voices are not being heard. Regardless of whether or not I serve in an official capacity on the HRC or simply as a private citizen, I will continue to champion the mission, vision, and values of the Human Relations Commission and advocate for all of Holland. While I believe my appointment to the Human Relations Commission as someone with a deep love and knowledge of Holland, experience working in government, and a unique perspective as a young person who can speak on the issues and challenges that face the next generation of Holland is valuable, I ask, even if my reappointment not brought before you for approval, that these vacant seats are filled as soon as possible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to address council? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Terry DeYoung, live in the city of Holland, and until recently was a member of the Human Relations Commission. During my public comment here on July 16, I mostly thank the mayor and you, the city council, for the proclamation supporting the Americans with Disabilities Act. Near the end of my 5 minutes, I also said the ongoing work of becoming a more accessible and welcoming community is what drove me to apply for membership on the Human Relations Commission. My first term ended June 30, and I'm still waiting for confirmation that I'll be reappointed for a second term. Yes, that's a less than subtle hint to Mayor Box that I'm still waiting for that to happen, which feels particularly timely since the Human Relations Commission meets in these chambers tomorrow evening. That was July 16. Mayor Box emailed me the next morning, and among other things, he wrote, "As I am sure you are aware, there are currently an unusually large number of openings and reappointments on the Human Relations Commission. My role as mayor is to make appointments to council's boards, committees, and commissions with the advice and consent of the remainder of council. I take that role very seriously. Council members have expressed their desire to have all boards, committees, and commissions reflect a balance of community voices and perspectives. I am currently in the advice stage of the process. I've been receiving recommendations and other input in the process. I will continue to do so as long as necessary." And the mayor went on to write that he had not made any decisions about appointments to the Human Relations Commission, that no person seeking appointment should see as a reflection upon them personally or on their ability to serve the city, that he will continue to take a thoughtful, measured approach to all appointments, and that his goal is to do the best to achieve council's goal of well-balanced boards, committees, and commissions. That was 7 weeks and 2 Human Relations meetings ago. And the Human Relations Commission still has 4 vacancies for what's supposed to be a 9-person commission. I am not aware of any other commission whose existence is being starved and dismissed in this way. My primary motivation in joining any commission, including Human Relations, was to elevate the voice of people with disabilities and to do so as a disabled person. And that remains my primary motivation. Regarding your desire to have all boards, committees, and commissions reflect a balance of community voices and perspectives, I believe that the voices and perspectives of disabled people merit your consideration. And beyond disability, I have been disappointed by the lack of apparent diversity on the Human Relations Commission, which is why I worked consistently during my 3 years on the commission to solicit names and to invite people representing the breadth of Holland's diversity to apply for membership. And I know that's easier said than done. Human Relations is doing important work, and it needs more than 5 commissioners to continue fulfilling its vision, mission, and values in a meaningful way. This is the Commission's vision, a community where all residents know they are honored, valued, and unhindered by bias, misunderstanding, and conflict. With the mayor's silence and inaction, I personally am not feeling honored or valued, and I'm feeling very much hindered by bias and misunderstanding, which I find to be a painful irony. For your information, I do not delight in saying these things, but I feel compelled to do so. And my hope is that the entire city council will engage in honest and open conversation about this troubling and suspicious situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Yes, my name is Orlando Estrada, born and raised here in Holland, Michigan. I reside in Ward 2. I'm not here to poke you guys. I think you guys are doing, everybody's doing what they can, you know what I'm saying? So, as somebody that loves, like, the performing arts, I just want to put out there, I watched that movie, Holland. Oh my gosh, that thing got 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. Please ask them to come back here and remake that movie, because it was shot like Nashville or Clarksville? I mean, Holland's a beautiful city. We live here. We love this city. I'm just requesting maybe someone could make a phone call, be like, they could do like a 2.0, because I think they did the best what they could, but man, people are asking me like, you live there? It's like, no, we don't have those type of issues there. No, maybe that was past, this now. We are in the future, So just thought I'd put that out there. Hey, Quincy. See, you have an opponent there. I don't know if they think Black Lives Matter or not, but I'm sure don't appreciate those negative comments I got from that individual last year when they ran for office. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Yes, my name is Brian M. Everett, and I live in the 2nd Ward on 12th Street. Now, as you may know me, I'm running for mayor this year. Now, we all love town, and we want what's best for it. As I've walked around town this summer, I've been reminded of the value that our residents place on the performing arts in our community. In many ways, the performing arts define us. Every year, our local schools train our youth in the arts, prepare them to become talented musicians, dancers, actors, and singers. The greater metropolitan area of Holland has produced many state champions in theater, dance, and music over the past 30 years. It appears to me that our council only gives lip service to the defining feature of our city's emotional health. It is time for Holland to rethink our economic values to include a focus on the value of quality of life issues that includes the arts. Our town invites visitors to come to our town, but offers little other than shopping to entertain them downtown. I quite often get asked while working down there, what is there to do after 9 o'clock here? Sadly, the answer is not much. Yet our council continues to focus almost exclusively on industrial growth in the city, while it ignores the potential economic value that the arts can add to local tourism. Holland is well known because of our annual Performing Arts Festival, Tulip Time. As volunteers, we share our talents freely and openly, and have done so for over 90 years. But you take us for granted. No disrespect to the Civic Center, but when the city asked us for a best use proposal to utilize the James D. Young site, we invested our precious funds and channeled our desire for a better future and proposed a performing arts center so that we could tap into our city's greatest untapped assets, our youth. Our children's future depends on our responses here. The incredible artists we produce every year would finally have a reason to move back to Holland to live. But when we asked you to consider our proposal by discussing the possibility of finally building a performing arts center so that we could share our joy of entertaining with the community that has given us so much, crickets. You won't even give us the courtesy of a no thank you call. You didn't say yes or no. You simply ignored us and discarded the best opportunity we have had since the late 90s when our city voted to support a performing arts center here in Holland. If you're not willing to discuss options, then you have doomed us to a worse outcome. Can you imagine what the 1st of May would look like if without our performers? No bands, no dancers, no plays, no concerts. What would Holland do if all of our performers grew tired of feeling unappreciated 51 weeks out of the year and decided not to participate in our spring festival? I think that might have a pretty negative impact on festival revenue. Now, around the world, cities are defined by their arts. The vitality is judged on the culture and performance arts. When are we going to find a reason to actually support the arts in our community? Now, it's not too late to have that discussion. Now, I recognize that this is not all the same council members that were here over the past 5 years, which is why I emailed all of you today to give you an equal understanding of my position. But we need to have a council that has a vision to take a different road and at least discuss creating a better future for us all. The better future is here for the taking. Join me in this journey at Brian4Holland.com. That's Brian4Holland.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And before you start, just so you know, we do have a rule with public comment that if there are 2 of you up here, you still only get the full 5 minutes.
If
All
I
right.
go sit down and come.
No, you can both be there. We just it's not 10 minutes for 2 of you. It's 5 minutes total. So would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
I'm Linda Gasper. I actually live in Middleville, Michigan, but I have been a passionate and committed member of the Holland American Legion Band since 2009, and I am this year's board president.
I'm Kenny Blau, and I live in Graskup, and I have been a member of the band since 1967. Go ahead, Linda.
We're here just to say thank you. Thank you for your partnership with this band for so many years. I wanted to share a few of our audience comments with you that we received at the end of our summer season. There is nothing quite like the beautiful setting outside at the park overlooking the lake. We love the Holland American Legion Band. There's little better than bringing a chair and a few friends down to Holland Park, watch the bouts, and hear great music. The American Legion Band means a lot to me. See family and friends over the years who give of their talents and make a special summer with the breeze coming off the lake and the beautiful music. And again, thank you, Holland American Legion Band. We so enjoy the Tuesday night concerts. You are a treasured gift to the Holland community. And so I just want to say thank you for your partnership, for all that you do for the band in preparing the park, the beauty of the Holland Park, and the band shell, and just supporting us in every way that we need to provide our concerts all summer long.
And we thank you as members of the City Council for coming out and joining us for the Pledge of Allegiance that you do for us. It means a lot. We really thank you for taking part. We thank the Parks Committee for taking such good care. It's beautiful, and everybody enjoys it. And we have people almost every year that come and say, moving to Holland is the right thing to do because you have music of this caliber free for the taking. You know, and our assisted living facilities come out with their buses, and they have a wonderful evening, and they just enjoy it, and that's because of you guys. So thank you very much. We appreciate it, all of you, and the parks people and the cemetery people for lugging chairs and stands and just helping. We can't do it without you, and just thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Ann Henriksen, Zeeland. National April Faith Month Action Organization and Corporation. This ministry has specific guidelines and purposes. We are a structure other than a church community. We are called specifically to advance the kingdom of God with the good news of Jesus Christ. He is the way to an eternal relationship with the one and only Creator God. This ministry is called to carry the inspired message outside of church walls into public spaces. We are non-denominational. We are not in competition with the church. Our purpose is to open opportunities for people who would never enter a church for whatever reason. We are also called to unify the body of Christ for the coming of King Jesus. A statement of Jesus in Luke 18:8 speaks today. When the Son of God comes, will he find faith on the earth? The context is important. It follows the story of the widow who goes before the unjust judge and persists in her requests. The purpose of this ministry is to bring the light of Christ into the world's darkness, John 3:16, and funnel those who receive him into the true body of Christ for the transforming, healing, and deliverance of the Holy Spirit. They will experience the revelational, inspired Word of God, the Bible, as he directs eternity into their hearts. Ecclesiastes 3:11, he has made everything appropriate in its time, and he has put eternity in their hearts. This ministry began with the National April Faith Month being designated by the Concerned Women of America 2022 and admitted into the United States Congressional Record. The Congressional Record has a permanent and established designation for this country. This ministry stands in this designation only. We are not affiliated with the Concerned Women of America or a chapter of that organization. April is a month with religious faith is specifically recognized for expression of speech in conjunction with the United States Constitution, freedom of exercise and speech. We join with other ministries and events in West Michigan. 2 weeks ago, we joined with Christ is King Ministry in Grand Haven, who had a family festival on the channel across from the anchor. 5 years ago, the city took the anchor down. I took the cross down. ACLU supported this under the ruling of separation of church and state. They also dismantled worship on the waterfront at the same time. The Christ the King's group formed and began efforts to be seen and correct this religious discrimination. The festival was most successful with an amazing worship of believers welcoming all people to join them. Tulip City Wall Mural Festival, September 4th. I talked to the designer of the event. He's a Christian, and his organization represents the values of Jesus. Grand Rapids is featuring Tim Tebow at Life Search at DeVos, September 13th. In just one day, you will experience a complete shift in how to view money, purpose, and impact. Here in Holland, there is Celebrating Jesus at the Civic Center Place, hosted by Winning at Home. It's free. Its impacting worship and message will change everything for those who live here. September 27th, Holland. Shine the Light in Holland, hosted by the National April Faith Month Action Organization and Corporation. Worship and prayer for the community that has forgotten God in public spaces. Our application for the Collin Park bandshell stage, the same one used by the American Legion, has been denied by this council because you won't sponsor any religious event or any other event for that matter, be it Pride or whatever. It is a unique and exclusive stage for only Holland City to use. That's not right. It looks like we want not to just be known for tulips, but for God. There is salvation and joy of the Lord in West Michigan, regardless of your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
My name is Doug Zylstra. I live at 152 East 24th Street. I am the County Commissioner for the City of Holland. Mayor and Council, just want to update you on a few things that are going on in Ottawa County. First thing up is administrator search. We've been without administrator for a good amount of time, and we have relaunched our search in July, our third search, received 57 qualified applications. At the Board of Commissioner meeting on August 26th, we narrowed those 57 down to 5 finalists and 2 alternates. The names of the 5 finalists, who have all accepted to go forward with the process, will be released this Friday. Board interviews are set for October 10, with a work group composed of area elected officials doing pre-interviews on September 8. Subsequent to those interviews, we will likely be taking preliminary votes for our next administrator by the end of next week. On broadband, I think I've talked about this before, but Ottawa County's $15 million high-speed internet project, funded in part through state and federal grants, as well as a $4.1 million ARPA allocation by the county, is making strong progress, with initial connections now active in underserved areas like Holland Township and Zealand Township. As of latest reports, the project has begun serving over 200 households and businesses, with a goal to connect 2,500 locations by 2027. This initiative, led by partnerships with local provider 123Net, aims to deliver speeds of up to 1 gigabytes per second. I think that's fast. Sounds fast. Ensuring robust access for remote work, education, economic growth. On our budget, we held our required public hearing on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Residents were invited to share input on the proposed 2025 budget. We will hopefully be approving that budget at our Finance Committee this upcoming Tuesday and final passage on the following Tuesday evening. The budget calls for $305 million in overall spending and utilize $2.9 million in reserves to come to a balanced budget. Veteran Stand Down and Resource Fair last year was here in Holland City at the Civic Center, but this year it will be located at Central Park Place, 421 Columbus Avenue in Grand Haven on Thursday, September 18 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is obviously the second annual event. This event is designed to connect veterans and their families with essential services, support, and community resources in one centralized location. And finally, the ever-popular Farms on the Tapas, scheduled for September 25, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Red Shed and Barn, 53 in Hudsonville. Tapas is an annual chef's competition dinner and silent auction to raise funds for Ottawa County's Farmland Preservation Program, uniting the community to celebrate our farming heritage and ensure its continued success. Guests enjoy unique dishes featuring locally sourced ingredients, vote for their favorite, and have a chance to bid on auction items. Tickets can be found at myottawa.org/event/gives Tapas 2025. With that, I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you again in the near future with further updates. As always, residents can reach out to me at dzylstra@myottawa.org or my personal number 616-443-4281. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Next item on the agenda, item 7A, establishing a residential housing district per Act 237. Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Mark Myers, our Community and Neighborhood Services Director, is going to come up and speak to us and lay this out for you. The only lead-in I'll give is that Council all knows, maybe the viewing public doesn't, that this is a specific topic that we've spoke about multiple times leading up until tonight. And that it's really driven by an overall and multi-year strategy that council has rated pretty high in our strategic and business planning process to take a look at a mix of housing at all price points, but especially to take a look at ways that we can, while we have limited ways that we can impact affordable housing, but to take a look at state laws and other things that are available for that purpose. So with that, we had this opportunity. We had an entity that brought it forward to us, and I think that gives at least a context for you, Mark, to take it away from here.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Mayor and council members. If you recall, last month, the City Council added the residential housing exemption tool to our toolbox to attract and retain affordable housing in the city. It's a fairly new state law passed in 2022, and as Keith indicated, we do have an application for an exemption certificate, which we'll consider at the next hearing. Just by way of background for the public, this law allows for up to a 50% tax exemption to rental units, either 4 units or greater, under the Act, if they are rented to households that meet certain income requirements. It's for both new and existing housing. For existing housing, the property must invest at least $50,000 to improve the housing stock. To be eligible for the exemption, the City Council has to first approve a housing residential house district. This is similar to an industrial tax abatement where you have to approve an industrial development district. And you know, the council could choose to do this piecemeal, if you will, by property. At the study session, we discussed that staff would take a look at the surrounding area for the request that we have at 1061 Abbey Court, which we've done to see if it makes sense to expand the boundary. If you take a look at the map, you'll see that there's a logical boundary between 16th Street, 12th Street, Hope Avenue, and Country Club Road. You see the orange area there, that's all high HDR zoning, so high density residential. So most of the properties would theoretically, depending on the standards, could be eligible for this tax exemption. So we felt this area made a lot of sense. With that, I'll answer any questions, and then of course we'll have the public hearing.
Great, thank you. Questions for staff? Mr. Corbin and then Mr. Byrd. No, I'm sorry, not Mr. Byrd, just Mr. Corbin.
So you mentioned the areas in orange, correct?
The area would be bounded by the streets.
Okay.
And so there is some single-family residential located in the district, but those wouldn't qualify anyway. So
Correct.
we're just looking at what makes the most sense.
So
As opposed to carving them out, you know, we're recommending that we use those streets as the boundaries.
And so this district also requires 4 or more units, correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
then, thank you, beyond that, you know, our policy is 10 units or less. So between 5 and 10 units could qualify.
Right. Okay, I just want to make sure that people who have single-family homes in this area understand that it's not about the single-family homes
Yes.
being consolidated in some way or a rebuild to allow that.
And I'll mention that I did receive 2 phone calls based on the public hearing notice for people asking what this was about, which is understandable.
Sure. Mr. Freeman?
I just want to make sure we're speaking all the same language, because when you read it, but what's on the screen, and then when Mr. Corbin said it's more than 4 units, not 4 or more. Correct?
Correct. It's
Okay.
more than 4 units. So
All right.
5, under our policy, 5 to 10 unit properties.
Got it. Thank you. Just so we're
Qualify.
super
Yep.
clear.
And just because Mark and I talked a lot about this in the office, just a reminder, and this is not so much for council, but for everyone listening. When we look at these incentives and the abatements, we can only do what state authorizes us to do, and then we need to follow state law. State law is written in the interesting way that the language they use is more than 4.
Right.
Which, so that's why a little bit, so I appreciate the clarification, but it is in easier language, it's 5 to 10.
Any other questions? Yes, Lynn?
Yeah, Mark, last time we talked about this, you explained very clearly
why the state is requiring a residential housing district. I wonder if you could do that again.
Well,
I mean, I know it's in there, I know the language is there. Can you explain why, what the benefit is, why it's part
Yeah.
of this legislation?
I think the benefit is that it requires the local government the local community to think broader policy issues to determine, the particular areas. So we chose to use, our zoning code in the zoning area as a guide, and I think it makes sense.
Other questions for staff? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Corbin.
So just in looking at what we're doing tonight, there were two options. One was to, we could limit that residential housing district to even one property, and we could expand it to even a larger area that we're talking about tonight.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Great. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mark.
You're welcome.
I do have a question for Vince. The action request only recommends a public hearing. Do we need to modify what we're saying here to make sure that we do this correctly? We cross the T's and dot the I's? Absolutely should do the public hearing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Public hearing.
It's required.
It's
by
required.
statute.
Okay. Okay. It's not just a recommendation. It's a
Right.
requirement under the statute.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Schulteis?
Well, it might be a follow-up to that. The action request only lists to do a public hearing. So we are only seeking action on conducting a public hearing.
No, also considering establishing the district.
So this is
Following
that's-
the hearing.
Yeah, I get that. That's what's missing in the language of the action
Okay.
request form. So if there's any motion, we want to make sure that the wording.
Yep.
The wording is to
addresses
establish the district.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thanks,
Right.
Mike. I misunderstood you there. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you for that.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right.
At this time then, I will open the public hearing in regard to this matter. If there is anyone who would like to address council in regard to this matter only, this is your opportunity to do that. The rules regarding public comment are very similar during a public hearing as they are during public comment, with the exception that the only thing that you may speak about is this particular item. Is there anyone here who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Jeff Minkus, 361 Stratford Way. I am a resident in this neighborhood. I am a renter in this neighborhood, and I am a property owner in this neighborhood. And I got the mailing, and we appreciate those in our neighborhood. Thrilled about you all taking up this work. Thrilled about you taking advantage of this state law opening to do this work. Thrilled that you are making this a district instead of just doing it on a piecemeal. The way that encourages other property managers, other landlords, other property owners in the neighborhood to possibly take advantage of this opportunity as well is great. Just to make sure I say what I want to say of that we are incentivizing investment in rental housing at affordable and attainable rates. And thrilled about this opportunity that you all are taking advantage of to do that. My quick wonderings and all on positives are what other neighborhood, and I don't know this, but you all know this, what other neighborhoods in Holland have high or large quantities of units of buildings that would qualify for this as well, that fit in that 5 to 10 range that you all have identified. And then how could you promote this to other property owners with not just within the Holland Heights district here, but within other parts of the city? How can we get the word out that this is a possibility as well? And then curious of just sitting here and thinking of and looking at that map of how many I count at least 2 12-unit buildings and 1 16-unit building that are inside that map that would not qualify based on the policy of the city. And so curious if that's city policy to limit it at 10 or if that's state policy and how we could work to include those buildings possibly in that as well. So thank you all for your work. Appreciate it and thrilled about this district. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council in regard to this particular item? Seeing none? Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I won't close it. And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
I'm Carol Hedgepath. I own property in the orange section. It's unclear to me what is meant by a unit. Is that a building with many units within it? Like if you have a building with 4 units, is that considered 1 unit? Or is that considered 4 units? It's murky to me. This is mainly focused on investors, and I can only assume that, for instance, any kind of condominium association that invests in rehabbing its property does not qualify. Could you clarify?
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time in regard to this particular item? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. What is the pleasure of council in regard to this item?
I think it'd be nice, could we?
Do you
also
want to
hear
ask a question of staff on this?
Yeah, but I think
Okay.
I would take the 2 questions that were given to council and ask the city manager to have staff explain or at least answer those questions before we take action on this item.
Yeah, I'm going to look at Mark. I am going to ask kind of a procedural question. In a way, what's before you right now is just the district, which really doesn't get into the specifics of the certificate and how it applies to units. So I'm happy to answer that question now, or that is going to be part of the presentation that Marks makes on the next item also. So I am happy to handle that however I'm directed.
Yeah. I think council would like to hear that answer now, just to make sure that we follow with the continuity on that. So we'd appreciate that.
Mark, just correct me if I'm wrong, but a unit, as defined in state law here, is not a building. It's, I'm going to say, a rental unit within a larger facility. So and it wouldn't qualify, right, but a duplex is, everyone understands that's 2 units within one facility. Triplex is 3 within 1, and a quad is 4 within 1, and it can go all the way up. So that's how state law defines, and then that's the entry that we're using, that it's a number of rental units within a particular building. And I think that answers both questions.
No, I think the following question, or the first question was how we determine the size. Can we go above the 10, I believe is what it was, complexes that were not included in the overlay, what would possibly be included in the future, but could we go over 10?
Yep, and council knows, Mark again helped me, we did produce an entire listing, and that was at the public study session that we had of all of the facilities or the buildings within the city that would qualify at the different number of units. And while, of course, the floor that's allowed by state law is 5 or more than 4, we also did an analysis, and what we wanted to be careful of, and council really in 2 different sessions kind of guided us in this direction, and it was certainly the thought of staff too, is that like we have in a lot of incentives that we consider, the way that the state law is written and the amount of money that's required of an investment of an owner of a property stayed the same no matter the number of units that was in a facility. And we wanted to make sure that this was something that particularly is available for those smaller facilities. Thus, we landed at the 10 or fewer, because if you're over that number amount, quite frankly, there's a lot of other economic development tools available for those types of units. That is in that public benefit exchange of you get something back for an incentive that the city would consider extending. And all of those are laid out in our housing incentive, housing support policy. Mm-hmm. So council had a pretty robust conversation about that and ended up supporting the recommendation that staff made that we do it for 5 to 10. And that for facilities that are over 10, there's really other incentive tools that are available that become, from an efficiency kind of investment perspective, that quite frankly probably make more sense for those units, but also get the public benefit that we're looking to get in return. How'd I do, Mark?
You did well.
You don't even have to say that
can
anymore.
Add one,
Please add to it.
I'll
yes.
add one thing. I want to answer the question about number of units. So the statute uses two terms. It uses units, which is a housing unit that is rented to a household, and it uses the term property, not building, but property.
Yep.
So if there are, regardless of the number of buildings on a single property, if there are 5 to 10 units, then it would qualify on a single property. Does that make sense? Okay.
All right.
So,
Mr.
just to be
Shea,
clear,
yeah.
multiple buildings on a single parcel, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also, the question about the HOAs is interesting to me. Do you have a thought on that? About HOAs, like if they're gonna do some sort of improvement to the exterior and it's a shared cost, do you have any insight on that?
You know, I hadn't thought about that.
So thank you for that question. That's
But-
a super valid question.
I had not thought about that. Food for thought. These are rental only. Yeah.
They don't have to.
Okay, yeah,
Theoretically, most HOAs, there's
sure.
Ownership.
Yeah,
Typically,
yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, great. Thank you again, Mark. Appreciate it. What is the pleasure of council in regard to this item?
Move to approve the proposed Holland Heights Residential Housing District in accordance with Act 237.
All right, moved by Schultheis.
I just want to make sure I probably wasn't listening.
All right. I did close the public hearing. Yes. Nope, that's all right. Thank you for that. No, I appreciate that. Always want to make sure I'm on task. So we do have a motion. Do we have support?
Support.
Support by Schultheis. Or, excuse me, motion by Schultheis, support by Rowan. Thank you. Any discussion? Yes, Mr. Corbin.
Yeah, so I know others will have disagreement on my comments about what I'm about to say, but just in our support or our study session, and we've been talking about this for some period of time, and then now we're looking at implementing it. I think my desire is to have a smaller overlay or smaller district rather than such an expansive district until we figure out exactly how this thing is going to work. We thought it out. We've asked a lot of questions, but I'm very timid or shy about actually expanding it too far, especially into areas where we have residential neighborhoods, and what that might mean that I maybe not have the answer today for, but maybe in the future after we've tried this. I'm very supportive of the ability to make these affordable. Our policy that we're outlining here makes these units affordable, and that's what we're trying to achieve. It helps some of the smaller units or smaller owners of these units who need the resources to do some of these things. So I'm very supportive of that. Just not supportive of the overlay or the district that we're trying to create, such a large district. So I will be voting no for that reason, but not that I'm not voting no for the fact that it's a good project or a good policy we're putting in place that I'd like to see go forward, but I'm just not happy with the way right now we've had it, exactly how we have the district laid out. So I will be voting no for it.
All right. Any other comments from council members? And I am going to disagree with you a little bit on this, Scott. I'm sure that you would. I'm sure that you knew that I would, because we did have a robust conversation about this and looked at the possibility of doing anything, anywhere from one property to having the entire city be included in this. And as Mr. Van Beek said, we asked staff to provide us with an assessment of how many properties within the city might apply within different units, anywhere from 5 to 10, 5 to 15, 5 to 20. How many were we actually looking at? What neighborhoods were we looking at? We had a very robust discussion about this, and I think that this, in my mind, is a great place to start with a neighborhood that has a number of these types of units. Yes, I recognize that along 12th Street there are single-family properties that are technically included in this district but would not qualify to be part of this incentive, but there are a significant number that are within this district that could. Will every property owner that's within this district take advantage of this? No, that's not a possibility. Are we encouraging them to do that? Yes, but they still have to make a $50,000 investment in improving their property. They also have to make sure that they have renters that meet the income requirements that are there. And as we talked about, this is specifically targeted for those smaller property owners, so smaller landlords that don't have those incentives available to them. And this council, as long as I've been on this council, has stressed that the issue of affordable housing is one of our top issues, if not our top issue. And we've looked at those tools that we have, our pizza, as we've talked about, our planning, our zoning, our investing, and our abating, and using those to the best of our ability. And we've been very successful at that over the last 5 years. There have been 1,200 units approved by this council in the last 5 years. More than that now, more than 1,200 units approved, 34% of which have met the affordability requirement in the city, which has really moved the needle here. But we have not had a tool available for these smaller property owners. And I think that this is going to be a new tool that'll be available to those that did not have that opportunity to do that before. So in that regard, I do think that this is a good limited way to be able to take a look at this. And as we said in our study sessions, if we find that this isn't working for us, we can always shrink it back. We can always expand it more, whether that's in terms of the size of the district, whether that means increasing the number of units. We are going to be making this known to those property owners that are out there so that they know that this is something that is available to them. And if we find that we're not getting the response that we want one way or the other, we have the ability to adapt this in the future. But I think that this is a great place to start. Any other comments from council members? All right, Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Freeman.
Yes.
Raymond. Yes. Corbin.
No.
Rowan.
Yes.
Shay.
Yes.
Schulteis.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda, which pairs with the last item, item 7B, considering a residential housing exemption certificate under Act 237 for Heights of Hope at 1061 Abbey Court. Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Believe it or not, I'm going to ask Mark Myers to come up. I'm going to say something at the end, Mark, but I will promise until after you present to say that this is the last time I'm calling Mark up as making a presentation. But I won't say anything too soon. Okay.
Too soon.
But again, as outlined and as the mayor said, these are always a two-step process. A district has to exist first, and if you didn't just take action on the last item in the affirmative, then we would have pulled this item off the agenda. So it's always a two-step process. So in the future, even if something comes up within the district that was just established, they also have to go through the full process and the full public hearing process to consider a certificate specifically. And Mark now is going to talk to us about this particular certificate application.
All right. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you're aware, Heights of Hope has applied for a residential housing exemption certificate. And there is a representative here tonight if you have any questions during the hearing. Rex Keekenveld, a board member. I have to say before I get into the item that I give this organization a great deal of credit. I've been here about 2 years, and they've been at it for probably 2.5 years, encouraging this, using this tool. So their property is 6 units. It meets the standards. Their household incomes are 80% area median income or less. The second part of that income test is that rent can be no more than 30% of the household income. They meet those requirements. They are very close to the minimum $50,000 investment, and they have pledged to make the final investments to meet and exceed that amount by October 31st, which staff will confirm. I will mention that their property taxes are about $16,000 a year. That's all taxing jurisdictions. So if they receive the 50% exemption, and staff is recommending that it be for the full 12 years allowed under statute, that exemption would be half of it. So about for the 2025 year, $8,300 exemption for all jurisdictions. Of that, the city is $1,900. And with that, I'll take any questions prior to the hearing.
All right. Questions for staff? Or did we cover them under the previous item? I think that we did. Great. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, this does require a public hearing as well. So at this point, I will open the public hearing in regard to this particular item. Is there anyone here who would like to address council in regard to this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. What is the pleasure of council in regard to this item?
Motion to support item 7B, consideration for residential housing exemption certificate per Act 237 Highland Hope, 1061 Abbey Court.
Moved by Corbin. Is there support? Support. Support by Byrd and Vreeman. We'll give that one to Mr. Byrd. They were so close. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make.
Yes.
I think the motion did use the word consider. I want to make me clear, is it a motion to approve or a motion to deny?
Thank you for that.
Motion to approve, my
Thank you.
apologies.
Thank you.
All right,
No, that's
so-
okay. I just want to make sure.
So we have an amended motion. Do we have a support for the amended motion?
No, that's good.
Yes. Okay. We have amended motion and support. Mr. Van Beek.
I know this was clear in the documents in our discussion. Mark pointed it out, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands here too, that this isn't a one-time and then it stays forever. There's a mechanism that's outlined that each year the organization needs to turn in information about the people that are renting and also what rent they're charging. And I think that's really important as part of the public discussion, and that we're all reminded of that, and we say that one more time publicly. Because as we talk about a lot, actually we have a public responsibility. It's legal, but we always have to take a look at what public benefit we're getting back in return for taking action with an incentive, even if it's allowed by state law. So this isn't something where it's just a one-year thing. There's a reporting process every year to make sure that in this case, it's not Heights of Hope as an organization that's getting a benefit here. They're existing, I think it's fair to say, right? And they're passing along, and council, the action that you would take if you would approve this tonight is that you're passing along the benefit to the people that are actually living in these locations. So there's a process in place to make sure that the benefit resides with and stays with people that live in these units.
All right. Thank you. All right. We have a motion. We have support. Any discussion?
I just want to say, because I voted last time against the previous motion, I just want to make sure you understand that I'm very supportive of this project, very supportive. It's a very creative idea, putting this together, bring it forward, and the effort you put toward this to make sure it happens. So thank you, and I'm going to be very supportive of this motion.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Any other discussion? I just, of course, have another couple of comments as well. One, thank you again for the hard work that Heights of Hope has done in this regard. And to reiterate and to put an exclamation point on what Mr. Van Beek said, the goal here of council is to provide benefit to the people who are living in the units. We want to encourage developers to be able to make these improvements and to provide these incentives for the people that are living there. But ultimately, the goal of this council has been to make sure that those benefits go down to the people that are living there so that we can have affordable housing units for the people that live in the city of Holland. And we're looking at monthly rent of $750 to $1,025 a month. When I know what rents are going for out there, that is a low rent within the city of Holland. Very difficult to find a rent in that area. And so if you are a landlord that has property that has between 5 and 10 units that is in this neighborhood, pay attention. Go see Mark Myers to make sure that, see if you have the ability to be able to do this, because it does two things for the properties here in the city of Holland. One, it provides improvements to those units, and that's a significant investment. A $50,000 investment in a 6-unit property is a significant investment to improve that property and ultimately improve the city. But then it is going to, in turn, provide housing for people who work in this community. This is workforce housing. These are teachers. These are firefighters. These are nurses. They are the people that you see every day who need good housing in this community. And I could not be happier that we are doing this tonight. Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Raymond.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Rowan.
Yes.
Shay.
Yes.
Schultheis.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item number 9, written petitions and communications. In addition to providing the public the opportunity to address council in person at our meetings, we also have an email address where you can send written communications. That is publiccomment@cityofholland.com. Again, publiccomment@cityofholland.com. Council receives those, reviews those as part of our packet, and we accept them into the record during our regular meetings. We do not read them into the record, but they are accepted into the record. We do not have any this evening, but I always like to make sure that the public knows that again, email address is out there, publiccomment@cityofholland.com. Next item on the agenda, item number 10, adoption of ordinances. Planning Commission, text amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance. Mr. Van Beek.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And if I could, I'm going to take a little liberty with the order. I kind of, and shut me down if you must, Mr. Chair of the meeting.
I don't know what you're going to do yet, but I guess I'll give you the liberty.
I did reference, and council, you all know, but, and because Steve is going to take this matter up front, Mark probably is already mad at me because I referenced it before he made his final presentation, but he doesn't have to get up anymore. Tonight is Mark's last meeting for a city council meeting. His last day will actually be 13 days from now. Mark his family is moving to Utah. He has been with us, 2 years, and he's done a fantastic job. And I know all of you have experienced that. I know our staff on the 3rd floor have experienced that. I have certainly very much professionally and personally appreciated Mark and the way that he came in with great amount of experience and professionalism and passion and dedication. And while we are excited for his new opportunities, yes, I did say that, Mark. I don't know if I totally, but we're going to miss him because he's really added to our team and has fit into our leadership team, which I know you all know I think very, very highly of. So, Mark, blessings to you. Best of luck. I hope you have lots of reasons to come back here and visit, and maybe even can come on a Wednesday night and say hi to council. 6 o'clock, we're here. Just because we've talked about this, yes. For another day, and the focus is on Mark, we do have a replacement. So for anyone that listened and said, oh, I got to contact someone at City Hall, we have someone that's going to be joining us just a couple weeks after Mark leaves. Juan Ganum is his name. He is a longtime colleague of both Mark and I. He is currently the city manager in Bridgman. He has great knowledge and expertise. In a lot of ways, Mark and Juan remind me of each other, and I'm sure that Juan will do a great job. But tonight, Mark, again, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. You will be missed.
And with that, because he doesn't have to lead into stuff, we have Planning Commission text amendments to the UDO, the Unified Development Ordinance. And we know that means it's Steve Peterson time. Steve, take it away.
Was that groaning? I heard?
We love you, Steve. Welcome. It's always good to have you here for UDO text amendments.
You make me follow that anyways. That's hard enough to follow. Yeah, so we're going to talk zoning tonight. Our Unified Development Ordinance. So we do have a couple amendments we want to go through, a couple amendments that the Planning Commission has recommended. One, a little bit longer, we're going to talk about non-industrial outlot development, and then we do just kind of have a couple corrections to go through. So this first one is the one that's a little bit longer. So non-industrial outlot development. So this is just a map of our industrial zoned areas in the city. So just to get a little bit of foundation as we go through this kind of stuff, there's about 340 parcels that are zoned industrial in the city. About a little over 200 of those are 5 acres or less. So this is just a map kind of showing you by size. What jumps out to me is the yellow. Those are parcels that are 20 acres or more. I guess what also jumps out is most of our industrial zoned areas down in that southeast corner of the city. This is a spreadsheet showing you, and I highlighted on there, the parcel that's highlighted is 25 acres. So the parcels 25 acres or more, so sort of from the top down to that highlighted parcel. Again, it's about 25 parcels in the city that are 25 acres or more. Hopefully I'll be able to connect some of these dots as we go through here. So non-industrial outlot development. One of the things we said we were going to do with the new master plan update was sort of monitor this particular section and to see if it is, was it the right formula that we had? And we've determined that this needed some tweaks. And we determined that based on a few things that we'll go through, but we also reached out to the developer community to get some feedback. We reached out to Lakeshore Advantage. And one of the things that we heard was that the 1 acre maximum limitation is too small. And so this is a big setup to tell you that's the reason why we're here tonight to kind of talk about this. And as I say, we got some of that feedback from the development community themselves. So what you see on this page on the left-hand side is the amendments that we are proposing as part of this non-industrial outlot section that we have. So right now, non-industrial outlot development, you have to be a minimum of 10,000 square feet. That's not changing, but we have a maximum of 1 acre. We would like to change that maximum to 5 acres with a 20% cap. So the way that would work is if you had a 10-acre parcel, you'd be able to split off 2 acres for non-industrial. 20% of your parcel could go to the non-industrial outlot development. So it would essentially go up to 2 acres. So I highlighted that 25 acres in that spreadsheet before because you really need to have 25 acres to even be able to do the 5 acres of non-industrial outlot development. So a couple objectives that we were trying to hit on with this amendment. One, to allow the non-industrial outlot development to occur in the city. That's really the objective of why it's even in our code. But also to really protect the industrial zoning so that these areas didn't just become commercial zone or some other sort of use, but that non-industrial outlet use was intended to support the industrial use around it. So that's some of the idea with the cap, so that we didn't have somebody just completely changing their industrial property to a commercial use. So again, the idea is raising that maximum size limitation to no more than 5 acres with this 20% cap. Of course, there's an exception to the rule. What we've done is built something in for the residential use. We actually allow residential uses in the industrial zone as part of the non-industrial outlot development. Right now, you'd be limited to being on 1 acre, so it's not being used. And so in this proposal, we have still sticking with that 20% cap, but that the Planning Commission would be able to allow for, say, someone with a larger parcel to use more than 5 acres, as long as they didn't go over that 20%, for a residential use. So these are some of the tools that we think will make this non-industrial outlot provision that we have in our code a little more usable. So just going to go through some of these slides just to sort of, again, give you some of that foundation. I highlighted some things. They're not necessarily changing, but I just wanted to show you some of the areas that where our code talks about this non-industrial outlot development. So this is our use chart. You guys are very familiar with this. All of our different zoning districts have all these use tables of all the different uses that are allowed. So I've simply highlighted, we're not changing any of the uses. These are just the uses that are allowed already as non-industrial outlot uses. You do see a couple strikeouts in there. That's simply where we would eliminate that 1 acre maximum requirement. So if we made this change, we would have that 5 acre, 20% rule. So we would just get rid of that 1 acre maximum provision that you see kind of sprinkled on a couple of those uses in the use table. Again, this is just a repeat of that same language that we went over. We do have so if you kind of ask, well, Steve, how are you going to monitor that 20% over time? So one of the ideas is that we would really create this, I guess what I call a control map, but using it at the time of UDO when it was originally adopted, 8/11/21. And then we have a map that we're able to have at City Hall that shows us what all the parcels looked like then, and so that we would be able to monitor if some splits did come off of parcels, so we'd be able to do that math of that 20%. Just go through some examples real quick that I thought were kind of interesting. Looking at Waverly, 32nd Street, on that right-hand side of the screen. That is an industrial zone piece of property. It's about 100 acres. I just thought this one was interesting because if you look at it, you look at that entrance off of Waverly where their driveway is, there's a large vacant piece of their property on that north side of their property. That could be an example where somebody, and it's about 17 acres, so that would be an example where they'd be able to do maybe a residential development. It's over 5 acres. It would be under that 20% cap. So, this would be an opportunity where somebody could take advantage of that. I'll also point out on that intersection there, that northeast intersection where our fire station is, that's the larger parcel that you see on that corner. That is 5 acres. So again, kind of give you the perspective of what 5 acres looks like. I'll also point out that the parcel just to the north of that is that martial arts studio. It's about 1.5 acres. So again, if you were trying to create this area today, you wouldn't be able to do it under our current zoning because that martial arts studio is over the 1 acre. Couple other examples. I know these aren't industrial zone, but I thought they were kind of interesting. This is the Meyer store, 16th and Waverly. And what I thought was interesting about it is you see sort of the outlot development already along 16th Street. So not only do you have the Meyer gas station, but the couple restaurants up there, the bank, Wendy's, car wash. All of those parcels are greater than 1 acre. So again, another reason that we were finding that nobody could take advantage of the current way that the rules are written because you just can't do that kind of stuff on 1 acre or less. Also doing some creative math here, if you take out that large area that could be developed east of the Meyer store, this is also what 20% would essentially look like on a 30-acre parcel, which is basically what Meyer is. You take off those 6 parcels, it comes down to about 20% of their parcel. So again, that was some of the math that we used to sort of come up with the numbers that we came up with. Just another example here. This is the home improvement store. Why am I drawing a blank? Menards, my goodness. Sorry, I've got the north on the right-hand side of the screen, but the car wash and the little strip mall with Starbucks, 2 acres and about 1.5 acres respectively. So again, just some other examples of how we came up with the math that we did. That's all of the changes for the non-industrial outlot. If you want to
Do
I
we,
don't-
yeah, do we have questions? Let's do questions on that if people have questions. Any questions on this particular change? Mr. Corbin, I'm sure that you do.
Yeah, so you're talking, there's 25 properties, 25 acres or more?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and most of it down in the industrial area, southeast. Are you suggesting that in some of these industrial areas, that if we approve this, that we would also allow residential build-out of 5 acres, let's say, next to a commercial or an industrial building?
Well, we already do. We already do allow for the industrial zoning district that allows for the residential use. That's already
For 1 acre.
with a 1 acre maximum, that's right.
But 5 acres, you could put, let's say, 30 homes or more
Maybe.
in that area, inside an industrial area.
You
There's risk.
You still have to come to the city, get approval, it's a
Yeah.
special land use, but, so that part is not changing.
When we all look at industrial areas, there are always risk factors with residential areas being near factories and facilities and manufacturing. So.
Right.
Isn't it kind of odd for our master plan to say, here's commercial areas and then try and create an opportunity for that? I can see it with retail and commercial. I just can't quite grasp my hand around
And in
residential.
Sure, yeah, that's fair. And in some ways, we have a bit of that over in the Ottawa category, obviously in the Ottawa corridor. Obviously, that industrial zoning isn't as big, but we have, to some degree, some of that already. So some of that is sort of going back to a little bit of how we saw some development happen years ago. So,
Yeah, pre-existing, some of the residential you're speaking of was there
Yep.
before the industrial was there.
right. And so you would be introducing the residential into an industrial area.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions on this part of it? All right, keep going.
Keep going. So I did give you a handout. I thought it would be a little bit easier for you to follow along. So this is our building envelope overview table. So these are for the form-based code districts. So what I want to stress is there are no changes that we're proposing on this form. There's just a bunch of really additions, clarifications that we think are needed. So I know it's a lot of red, and there is a couple strikeouts, but again, kind of go through those in a second, but those are really just correcting what is in the code. So we've kind of described this as our cheat sheet, again, with some of the ideas of UDO being a useful document for property owners, developers to be able to see what the rules are. We think tables like this are effective, but looking at it, we found that it just didn't have all of the information on it. So no changes being proposed, but we think it needs some additions to help clarify. So just to kind of walk through where some of all these red circles are coming from. On that left-hand side, that's the central downtown section of our code. So again, using that cheat sheet, that first row there, central downtown, you can see we do have some changes, sorry, not changes, but some clarifications that we're making. That interior side setback, that minimum, where right now it says 0 or 15. If you look where I highlighted on that sheet, you can also see the interior side setback under option 1. There's an exception if you're adjacent to some residential districts, that there's also a 10-foot setback allowance in there. So again, the idea of adding some language in there so that the reader would see that it's 0 or 10 or 15. Not changing the regulations, but we're just adding in what's already in our code into that cheat sheet. Moving over a couple columns, you see that 4th story step back. So that would apply to all of the districts that allow for 5 stories or more. You can see we have that little H symbol up above, that we include a footnote on the bottom. Again, that central downtown, you see that graphic over there for a 6-story building. And it, over there on that right-hand side of the column, the upper story setback, it's not just 15, but it's an or 6% of the building depth, whichever is less. So we simply wanted to add all of these regulations that are already in place into our cheat sheet. The discussion among staff was we either get rid of it or we complete it, essentially. So we'd like to complete it and use it rather than get rid of it. So hopefully, I do have the other slides just so you can see where all of those circles and dots are coming from. Again, the point I guess I wanted to make was we're not changing anything on this cheat sheet. We're simply really completing it, if that makes sense.
I think you're good.
Last one, really just a clarification. There's just, and we've done this with others, you guys are familiar with this, with just a reference. I think it's pointing us in that particular section to 12.04. That's kind of our zoning process table. And then when you go to 12.04, 1204 points you to 1202. We would like to cut out the middleman there and just take you directly to the process table. So just a clarification, I guess, cleanup.
All right.
Those are the amendments. The Planning Commission held the public hearing, so you guys don't have to do that tonight. We didn't get any comments at Planning Commission, but as I say, we did do some reach out and got some of that early feedback on, in particular with the non-industrial outlot stuff, but we did not get any feedback at Planning Commission public hearing.
Great. Other questions for Steve? No, I think we're good. Well done, Steve.
Thank you.
What is the pleasure of council in regard to this item?
Move to approve.
Moved by Raymond. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Shay. Any discussion? All right. Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Corbin.
No.
Rowan.
Yes.
Shay.
Yes.
Schulteis.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the item that was removed from the consent agenda, and that is item 12, Echo 4.1, approve participation in secondary manufacturers national opioid settlement. Mr. Van Beek.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'll take this one. This is, I think, as the recommendation suggests, we have been notified as this has happened now. I think this is number 10 or 11. Some of them have been grouped together. But basically, you need to sign documents. In this case, you're actually authorizing that I can execute these documents eventually, which means then as the money comes through these settlements and then gets dispersed through states and then through local communities, then that money is available to us. I will just add, it talks about in the summary of requests that we're currently projected at over $600,000 through all of these now that we've gotten, but that extends all the way through 2038. So right now, I think we're averaging about $30,000 to $35,000 a year that we're getting in each budget year. And then as the summary outlines, we are dedicating these funds to our CIT team, our crisis intervention team, which is a partnership with the county, but really it was instituted by Chief Messer and our police department. So that is what the recommendation is tonight.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right. Thank you. What is the pleasure of council in regard to this item?
Move to approve the participation in the secondary manufacturers opioid settlement.
Moved by Vreeman. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Raymond. Any discussion? Yeah. Mr. Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Keith, for that update. And I think some of you might not be surprised by this because I've mentioned it last year, but I will be voting yes on this tonight. But I wanted to add one point for future consideration, despite your point about how small the payments are. we're voting to use these settlement funds to reimburse a portion of the cost for an excellent crisis intervention team. It's a vital partnership with the county. I understand that there are some limitations in that, and I'd love to talk more about that partnership, but the CIT program is an outstanding success, and the feedback that I've received both from the public as well as the Department of Public Safety have been unanimously positive. Being that our CIT program is so essential, I think it would be great for us to be considering, rather than backfilling this system and this program that we all love and think is so important, that we might think about using those funds for additional services for programs to combat the opioid crisis, rather than just backfilling a program that we are and should be already committed to. So that's all. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Rowan.
Yes.
Shay.
Yes.
Schultheis.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Corbett.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda, item 13, communications from the city manager, Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will go quickly. On the consent agenda tonight, and you all saw Connie Locker sitting in the back of the room, our grants manager. I just thought, every once in a while when you get like 4 of them on the agenda all at the same time, just to highlight that. All of you know, you read your packets, but for the listening public, since we've added Connie's position in April of 2022, we've applied for over $121 million worth of grants. We've received to date $6 million, and we're awaiting word on an additional 20.2. So Connie continues to be fantastic. It was a very appreciated and good move, council, to fund that position, and pointing out also that that's a position split not just between the city but also supports the Holland Board of Public Works. Headley, again, council knows all of this, but very important ballot proposal that will be on the ballot in November. We waited, I think, purposely and smartly until after the school had a recent school election. But in our e-newsletter in September that just went out over the weekend, actually, we started our informational campaign and just releasing information about what the challenge is and what the proposal is and what that would do. And a little bit of the challenge, as council all knows, is what it sounds like we're doing and what actually you all have said that you want to do, which is actually not raise the levied rate that you institute in taxes, but just be able to maintain the ability to continue to use that rate into the future. We will be releasing more information and releasing opportunities also for the public to get more information. I'm recommending that instead of a study session night on October 8, when we'll also already have a open house for the Collin Park Fire Station that evening, that we'd all get back here and probably around 7 o'clock have just an open house and an educational session for the community that will educate and push that information out. But also, I'm going to have several sessions for our employees, but also we're looking to have some sessions for our board committee and commissions, and then our Ambassador Academy, which are open, but I would say those would be more invite for groups of people. And then the last thing, speaking of Ambassador Academies, it's already that time where next Monday night is the first Monday night of 10 in a row, where we have our second inaugural Ambassador Academy, 6 o'clock on Monday nights. I think we have 26 people signed up this time. So we're excited about that, and will keep us very busy through the fall. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda, appointments, communications from the mayor, and I have a bit of a theme this evening. First, I would ask that the Council approved the appointment of Kristen Bordenkircher to the Neighborhood Improvement Committee for her first full term, said full term expiring on June 30 of 2028. Ms. Bordenkircher will fill the vacant seat left by committee member Houch, whose term expired on June 30, 2025. And I would be looking for a motion in that regard.
So moved.
Moved by Vreeman, support by Byrd. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, I have a proclamation declaring September as Good Neighbor Month. Whereas in 1978, United States President Jimmy Carter, by proclamation, established National Good Neighbor Day, eventually set to occur on September 28 of each year, a day set aside to observe the importance of neighboring, neighborhoods, and community. And whereas research shows that neighborhoods are a vital factor in creating safe, healthy, inclusive, and flourishing communities, and whereas as a society, we have witnessed an alarming rise in loneliness and isolation, with troubling impacts on the physical and mental health, life expectancy, and well-being of individuals within all communities. And whereas it has been established that the development of more socially cohesive and inclusive neighborhoods positively impacts the physical and mental health, life expectancy, and overall well-being of individuals. And whereas neighborhoods and cities are healthier, their outcomes are stronger, and their problems more limited and manageable when people who live in proximity to one another experience a shared sense of belonging and connectedness. And whereas it has been demonstrated that communities with strong neighbor-to-neighbor connections show greater civic pride and engagement, and more effective crime prevention, disaster response, and economic resilience. And whereas the City of Holland is fortunate to benefit from the efforts of the countless number of Holland residents who display their neighborliness every day on their blocks, within their apartment buildings, and in their neighborhoods. And whereas the City of Holland is also fortunate to benefit from the efforts of numerous groups and organizations working intently to build stronger and more connected neighborhoods, including Heights of Hope, 360, West Core Neighbors, Washington School Neighbors, and Community Works. Now therefore, I, Nathan Box, Mayor of the City of Holland, and members of the Holland City Council do hereby proclaim the month of September as National Good Neighbor Month, and September 28, 2025, as National Good Neighbor Day in the City of Holland. And I urge all citizens to celebrate National Good Neighbor Month by making a genuine and renewed effort to support the flourishing of your neighborhood during the month of September and throughout the year. Given under my hand and the seal of the City of Holland, this third day of September 2025, Mayor Nathan Box. And the third item on that theme is starting tomorrow is Mural Fest, which is going to be taking place in the East Core neighborhood, a neighborhood that was once my neighborhood in the City of Holland. I've lived in a number of them over the years. That is a great program and has done an amazing job at building cohesiveness and community and attention to one of Holland's great neighborhoods. So I invite people to start Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We've got Mural Fest with lots of great murals and muralists coming from all over, including one from the Netherlands this year. So we encourage people to go out there, get out there, be good neighbors, and definitely visit Mural Fest. And that is all I have this evening. Next is appointments, motions, and communications from council members. Anything from council members this evening? Mr. Vreeman.
I just have a question or a request from Keith. Is it, and maybe I missed it, and I apologize if I did, with the academy that's coming up, is there been a sheet that we can sign up or make sure that we have participation from council in each one of those?
Let me make a note, and I'll have Mallory send that out to everyone and kind of encourage you to self-select it. I don't think we did that. We talked about doing it. I think I failed in following through. It's nice to have a representation from council at least every night. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Anything else from council? All right, there's just one more motion I'd entertain at this time.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Vreeman, support by Byrd. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. Have a great night.